Imagine that everything in your life is happening in the best possible way, in a way you had never imagined. Her company is a success, and her father named her heir to the South Korean family company, despite her not being the firstborn. This results in his brothers and sisters-in-law revolting. However, something happens when you are doing the last tests of a suit made for extreme sports. A storm suddenly forms when you are high up and tractors start flying close to where you are, and then you faint. When you wake up, it appears to be in a forest. However, you have no idea what is going on and only realize that you are in a dangerous area when a North Korean army officer is willing to hide you and help you return home. How will our protagonist get out of this? I'm Nina, and today's recap will be Crash Landing on You. The story begins with the employee, more of the protagonist's right-hand man, showing how the team will work to cover a scandal in the news. She was caught going out with a man who is a well-known actor. However, it turns out that Se-ri sees the situation as a strategy to boost the company's sales, so she asks that the earrings, necklaces, and accessories from the new collection not be blurred in the photos and increases the stock of these pieces in stores. The protagonist receives a call from her older brother. Their father is going to be released on parole, and the man, despite not agreeing with his sister's actions, thinks she should come to see her father. However, Se-ri doesn't seem to be very close to her relatives, and as soon as she hangs up, she blocks her brother's number. The protagonist's sister-in-law and her brother believe that her father wants to announce the heir to the family company, which is why she asked everyone to attend. The media believes that the person who will occupy the position will be one of his two sons. However, when almost everyone is gathered at the table, the two brothers and especially the sisters-in-law begin to talk about what each one did wrong that harmed the company in order to influence the decision of the head of the family. When Se-ri arrives, she greets her father, wishes him to take care of her health, and refuses his request to return to live in that huge house. After saying goodbye, she receives an unexpected surprise from everyone there. The head of the family offers his position to his daughter. He recognizes that the woman left home and started her company 10 years ago, always making it grow, so he believes that she is the most competent for the position, and Se-ri accepts. But as she is a very busy person, she leaves it to meet another day to stay up to date with what is happening in the company, and her father left it up to her to decide to fire and hire whoever she wanted. And then the protagonist leaves. The next day, Se-ri, along with a film crew, will test a line of clothing for extreme sports that she will launch. Her right-hand man thinks it's a bit risky for her to participate as the person who will test the product. He thought it would be better to just send a report to her boss. However, she explains that she is in a hurry, as her position will soon rise. The man continues to think it is dangerous because of the speed at which the wind is, but the woman insists on doing it. Everything is going well until a storm starts to arise and the protagonist ends up involved in it, spinning around with tractors, animals, and other things. She goes out. In the next scene, we see North Korean army officers. They go to meet South Korean officers, who are with 3 men being detained from North Korea after being caught looking for cultural artifacts in the South and gathering information. At one point, the soldiers began to lower their weapons. However, the men who were being detained picked up a pistol that was on the ground and began to fight. The soldiers receive an order not to engage in conflict, so the North returns with its men home and the South goes to its area. Now let's get to the facts. The North Korean army is monitored by the State Security Department, and these 3 men that Captain Ri was treating like thieves received authorization from within to cross the border with the South. The captain informs the Lord that he appears to be part of the State Security Department, which promised the Southern captain that he would investigate the thieves, and Mr. Cho says that he will make a promise to the captain. If he catches him committing any act that could threaten the security of the army, he will not go easy on Ri Jong, regardless of his social class, so the man will be liquidated immediately. In the next scene, we see the captain's team of soldiers drinking a good wine that has been stored for a long time. They know that they cannot drink it during watch hours, but as the next day they will change shifts and have lighter duties, they believe that nothing will happen, and they decide to enjoy it. Meanwhile, the protagonist's right-hand man is freaking out because the rescue team still hasn't found the woman's body, but at least the film crew was found alive. The next day, Sairi wakes up in the middle of a forest. She is hanging by her sports equipment and screams for help. The captain and another soldier are walking through the area, but only Ri Zhong hears the woman's call and dismisses his companion to go see the damage the storm caused, while he looks for whoever is asking for help. When he finds her, he immediately points his gun at this unknown person in front of her, and the protagonist, at first glance, thinks it is the army that was sent to rescue her. However, when paying attention to the captain's uniform, she realizes that something is wrong. The man asks her to get down immediately, and the woman complies but ends up falling on top of Ri Zhong. The protagonist presents herself as an employee of a fashion company and prefers not to say her name. She is still a little confused about where she is and believes that they are in an area in South Korea where soldiers from the north were sent on an emergency mission. Captain Ri tries to explain to the intruder that she was actually the one who went to the north, and according to protocol, she would have to go through some procedures. She would be arrested and interrogated. Then the protagonist starts running to get away from him. However, she ends up in an area with mines buried by the storm, and when the man approaches her to help her, she ends up stepping on one. This is the perfect time for Sairi to escape very carefully, but first she confesses to the captain, since they will no longer see each other, that he is her type. As soon as the woman leaves the place, a soldier finds her superior, and Ri Zhong asks the man to pass the message to the rest of the team to look for a woman, arrest her, but not shoot. Then the soldier helps the captain. He disarms the mine with a little fear, as he had only done this in training. The soldiers received the message. However, as they were perhaps still under the influence of the drink, they understood that they should immediately shoot the South Korean woman when they found her. And as soon as they find it, they run to catch it. However, Sairi, with the adrenaline in her body, runs very quickly and doesn't even notice the signs warning about the mines. Thankfully, nothing happened. At one point, she arrives at a fence that is damaged because of a tree that fell on top of her, and she believes it to be the right way. The soldiers try to warn her from afar that she will not reach her country through this place, but Hao was chasing her pointing guns a short time ago. The protagonist decides to take a risk. If they discover that the soldiers let the South Korean woman cross the fence into North Korea, the entire team will be punished by the State Security Department. Meanwhile, they are deploying drones, dogs, and everything else they can to look for Sairi. Of course, her brothers are waiting for the 48 hours that are used to define the case to pass so they can rule her out as an heir. And the protagonist's mother thinks about the conversation she had with her the night before, where her daughter reminded her that she never had a mother she could count on and that she wouldn't do what her wife had asked of her, which was to refuse the position at the company. We see in the next scene Sairi taking off her jumpsuit. She decided that as soon as things got better, she will disapprove of this product, as it ripped easily and the woman got hurt on her leg. The protagonist continues trying to get to her home or somewhere she can use a cell phone to communicate and ask for ransom. And so as not to continue walking in circles in the forest, she marks the trees with bows she made with leaves. We now see those three men who were detained, and Mr. Cho picked them up with the captain. They were really in the south looking for information, and the man asked them to point out to him where a commodity is on the map. Mr. Cho says that the trio will be rewarded, but it is then seen that when they are being taken to a place, on the way, trucks appear and push the car down the hill, the same they do with a woman who was hitchhiking and ended up seeing all. Meanwhile, the soldiers continue looking for the woman, even after changing patrols in that area, and end up finding her sports clothes and then the little bows made from leaves. Sairi has found a small village and begins to believe that she is in South Korea. However, the closer she gets to the residence, she realizes that she has never seen anything like this before. People who don't have energy all day don't care. There are refrigerators or electric stoves, something very different from their reality. Suddenly, someone pulls her into a courtyard, and it is Captain Ri. The man enters into a conflict with himself as to whether he should take this woman's life, as there is still the possibility that she is a spy. When the protagonist discovers that he is thinking that she might be an agent, she starts laughing and says that if he looked up her name on the internet, if she revealed it, Ri Zhang would know that she is very famous in the south. However, another surprise arrives for Se-ri. There is no internet there. The soldiers from the captain's team began to appear at his house. Everyone arrived almost celebrating, as they thought that the woman who was found lifeless thrown from a hill would be the one they were looking for. However, as soon as they saw Se-ri, the glow disappeared from your eyes. Since the State Security Department cannot know that a woman crossed the fence during the soldiers' shift, otherwise they will be toast, so the men are forced to help Se-ri get home. So they come up with a plan. In a few days, Se-ri will take a boat at night that will take her to an international ship and thus arrive in South Korea. The protagonist is enchanted by some things, such as the fact that they don't have a refrigerator and some people have never had contact with one, so they discover other ways to store food without it spoiling. After a while, the team needs to return to their station, so the captain taught Se-ri how to communicate with him in case of emergency, but the woman uses the phone for various nonsense, like to find out if he has scented candles, or how to heat water to take a shower, among other things. Later, Captain Ri decides to continue his investigation after discovering what happened to the 3 thieves. He begins to think that the security department may be involved in keeping trucks secret, as there is a pattern of accidents. The department allows him to investigate and asks him to go to another city the next day for a meeting with the department director. As soon as Captain Ri leaves the room, the 2 men talk about a new account. It turns out that a man scammed a huge amount of money out of a rich businessman, in this case one of the protagonist's brothers, and he is going to North Korea to hide himself. Returning to the protagonist, that moment of the day comes when they turn off the electricity, and she starts to get scared. She thinks they might be doing this to make it easier to take her life, and she despairs when she hears someone entering the house. However, it was the captain, and as soon as she realized who it was, she burst into tears. The man took her a candle that she had asked earlier if she had and several other cosmetics. He tries to help the woman calm down, but it is a matter of days before she returns to her home. The next day, when the captain goes to identify himself in the city he was told to go to, he explains that he is there for an investigation and the men have arrested him. They say that he is the one who will be investigated. Ri Zhang is taken to a location and placed in an electric chair. A man begins to interrogate him, as if the thieves losing their lives were his fault or that he was plotting something. But the captain doesn't lay down his head and chests the man. He says that there is no basis for his speculations. The general, when he enters the room and notices who is sitting in the chair, runs to get him out of there, then curses whoever was sitting in the chair. Interrogating. The general says that Captain Ri is the only son of the director of the Politburo, which would be a central committee of the Communist Party. As soon as the general and Ri Zhang leave the room, the man calls Mr. Cho and asks if he wants to dig his grave, then tells him who the captain's father is. Later, the general and Ri Zhang go to dinner. The captain wants to investigate this accident, as he believes it may be linked to his brother's accident. There are many coincidences and questions that have not been answered. Meanwhile, Ri Zhang's team of soldiers discovers that there will be a random inspection of the houses today and is nervous, not knowing what to do about the protagonist. As they cannot contact the woman, they contact the captain, and the man borrows the general's car. He goes as fast as he can with the vehicle to arrive in time to try to prevent them from hurting Se-ri or something worse happen to your men. Before Mr. Cho and the other men entered the house, the protagonist discovered that Ri Zhang studied music before enlisting. The captain manages to arrive before Mr. Cho takes Se-ri to be interrogated and says that she is his fiancée. He had not introduced her to people before because the protagonist is on a mission in South Korea. She is a spy, and consequently could not provide further information. This lie was what freed them for a while, but they would have to be more careful now. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me. Until next time.